Next amendment is one that starts out, amend page 38, line 2. I have to quote time. This is on the return to service. This both keeps the queue open for new folks to be able to get on the queue for retail open access, and it also, in terms of the return to service, allows for those in the top 2 tiers to take beyond the cover utility for 15 years, and keeps it the same for the 3rd tier. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm asking this not just on this amendment, but all subsequent amendments. When provided an amendment, can we have some time to actually read it before you have the roll call?
I'm trying to, provide, how much time would you need?
Well, I read fairly quickly, but it's 3 pages, so.
Do you have any other specific questions?
No, I don't. Just, are we going to have time to read these things before we're asked to vote on them?
Well, I have a list of dozens of amendments, and I'm going to try my best to allow for any questions and concerns. This is Vice Chair Lavoie makes a motion to adopt. Madam Chair, could you please call the roll? On the adoption of the amendment, there's 16 yeas, 0 nays, 9 passes. That the amendment's adopted. The Vice Chair had a few words before we took. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, appreciate the opportunity to comment on final passage 4298 in particular. I must admit that I'm frustrated by this process. Something as simple as, at this point in the process, not having the bills we'll actually be voting for or against in front of us, so that we can actually read how they actually were put together after this extensive amendment process. I presumably, if we were to cast this vote sometime next week, we'd have the bills as they actually are in front of us. And so I don't know what the rush is tonight when we don't have something as simple as the bills.
On one side of the issue, we have UBS pitching for stock purchases for the utilities. On the other side of the issue, which says we continue to expect energy legislation to pass in Michigan by year end that would effectively end retail open access, in other words, electricity choice. So both sides of the issue, it appears to me, are agreeing that this language could in fact do away with electricity choice. One of the earlier UBS documents said, used the term that it would wither on the vine, 90% of the choice market. And yet we're told that won't happen. Well, I hope that's correct, because if it is correct, if what both sides of the issue say is correct and the likely effect of this legislation, then if 90% of the choice market withers away, to use the UBS term, then we're going to see increased electricity rates for the 40% of public schools that we estimate to be in the choice market. Bay City schools that I represent, Bay City Western High School, saves $200,000 a year. If 90% of the market withers away, will that be an additional $200,000 a year they have to pay just to keep the lights on and have to lay off 3 teachers?
I believe this is a beginning of a process that I think will set good policy in the long term for the state to ensure that we're proactive in the policy. This a few main points. This does start in terms of switch us from some mandates to an all-the-above energy approach, in terms of trying to ensure that we have an all-the-above energy approach, from different kinds of generation to eliminate energy waste to ensuring that we have good transmission. And it also preserves what I would consider continued robust electric choice that's there. I know a lot of you know my opinions on that issue, but I feel I've provided a good compromise between those that want to further go to retail open access and those that want it eliminated. I believe that this will ensure that we take care of the long-term capacity constraints in the state without overly burdening other folks and pushing them out of the market. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for your continued time after 128 people have testified, and 28 hours of testimony, and now about 6 hours worth of amendment procedures in work. So I know this wasn't what we intended to do on Thursday night,